Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. My name is Mystic Muzz and I can predict your future. Last year I predicted that you would buy a watch with an integrated bracelet. This year I'm going to predict that you will buy another watch. And I'm going to predict the colour of the dial. The colour will be purple, because purple watches are everywhere at the moment. Well, perhaps not quite everywhere, but I'm beginning to see the colour appear more and more this year in big brands as well as micros. The Formex Field was released in purple, and the Van Banner that has been doing the rounds at the moment also in purple. Both sold out. Zenith make the Defy in 44mm and in purple, and AP do a purple and gold code 1159. Perhaps we are seeing it more because Pantone, the self-appointed world authority on colour, recently announced that their colour of the year for 2022 was a purple. Mind you, so were their colours of the year for 2018 and 2014, so maybe we shouldn't read too much into that, but the royal purple colour is definitely on trend at the moment. One boutique brand that has always been on point with their colour choices is Direnzo, so I'm not surprised to see a bit of purple creeping into their catalogue this year with their reissued DRZ04 Mondial. The original run sold out very quickly in all colours, hence this reissue. You saw the pop-up? This video is sponsored by Direnzo. I will therefore leave a link to their website in the description of the video. Pre-order for this batch opens on the 25th of June. And don't worry, if you don't like purple, there are plenty of other colours available. Let's flip the camera and have a look at them. Okay, so I'm going to try and keep it fairly brief today because I have reviewed essentially the same watch early last year. I'll leave a link up in the top corner of the screen. I'll also leave a link at the end of the video. The focus therefore today is essentially on colour. Now these are all Direnzo's own press shots. There's going to be plenty of purple in the rest of this video, so I'm not going to linger on this particular colourway, but there you are. They're also producing a pale blue, dare I say it, Tiffany blue, perhaps more the colour of 2021 than 2022, but I'm sure these will still be popular nonetheless. And a deep blood red. This is a bit of a Direnzo signature colour. They launched the 03 Eclipse in what they called Blood Moon a few years ago, and it was very, very popular. And also this time, Red Meteorite. I've never seen Red Meteorite before. This is a two-piece dial. The rest of them are one-piece bold dials. The Meteorite is the only one that has two pieces. I'll explain myself later on when we go macro with this one. They are also reissuing white. I will show you my own 04 in white later in the video as well. Now these are 650 Swiss francs, so roughly 675 US dollars at the current rate. As I said, pre-orders available from the 25th of June. I will of course leave a link in the description. I suggest if you're keen on one of these, you have a good look at their website for all the information that's available there. All watches come with a 2-year warranty and one of these little canvas watch rolls as well. There are also a couple of options to mix up how your 04 wears. There is a diver style clasp here, a kind of traditional clasp with micro adjust. If you like the integrated bracelet but want the added flexibility and comfort that comes from one of these, that is an option. I'll show you on both later in the video. And rubber straps in white or black. Again, I'll show you the purple one on both a little later in the video. Now I asked Direnzo to send me the purple one for a look this time around because I think that is the pick of the colours. It's a fantastic shade of purple as well. Nice to see them re-releasing white also. This watch on the right here is my own watch. This is an original 04. The only difference between these first gen ones and the new second generation models, apart from the colour, is they're going to add drilled lugs. This is a prototype built into an old case, so it doesn't have drilled lugs. It just means it's going to be easier to swap it onto that rubber strap when the mood takes you. I also asked for the purple because it's a fun colour, and I'm assuming that most people don't already have 3 or 4 purple watches in their collection. I know I certainly don't. In terms of the particular hue, I've got a camera here, you're looking on a screen, there's no guarantee that it's going to be reflective of exactly what my eyes can see. It's more silk cut purple than dairy milk purple, and if you get those two references, chances are your lifestyle was unhealthy, as mine was back in the day anyway. Regardless, it's not too intense, it's not too in your face, but it is unmistakably purple and unmistakably something different therefore. Alright, dimensions, 40mm in diameter, 11.7mm thick, with a 47.5mm lug tip to lug tip. Lug width, NA, not applicable today because this one has an integrated bracelet. For the sake of argument, it leaves the case at about 23.5, tapers back down to 17.5 at the butterfly clasp. Sized up for me, it weighs in at 142 grams. All stainless steel construction and with a hardness coating on this one, which is great, so it's going to stay looking better for longer. Screw down crown, 100 meters of water resistance, and that is a piece of just slightly domed. There's a mere smear of a dome on this one, sapphire crystal with plenty of anti-reflective undercoating. Case and bracelet finish is a real standout on the DRZ04, a real standout on any watch costing less than $700, frankly. It is beautifully finished, super fine satinized brush on the mid case and on the upper lug surfaces. Likewise, you have a satinized circular brush on the top surface of the bezel, but there's plenty of high polish to break this thing up on the angled bevel of the bezel and on a chamfer running all the way around the top of the case, and that links up to a high polish chamfer running all the way around the edge of those bracelet links. The bracelet is also just beautiful, really soft and delicate on wrist as well. H-link with that satinized brush across the H's and a high polish finish to those center links, matching the high polish finish to the edge. Direnzo logo there in script on the butterfly clasp, but as I said, you do have the option of speccing on the diver's clasp with this one. And this is my white 04 with the diver's clasp on. I've kind of gone back and forth depending on whether I got a good fit just from the standard clasps, depending on whether it was summer or winter and how big or small my wrist was. 3 holes of micro adjust here though means you are going to get a better fit, but it's not nearly as elegant. So yeah, that's definitely a choice you have to make yourself. But it's an optional extra, you're not obliged and you're not paying for it if you just want to pick the base model without it. Caseback's a carryover from the first batch of these as well, sapphire crystal display case back there. If you hadn't worked out already, these are Swiss made and designed by Sergio Direnzo. It's a one-man operation. He designs all of his watches himself, which is why there is a kind of running theme stylistically through all of his watches. And behind that caseback lies a Swiss movement. Obviously, it's a Sellita SW200-1, but not just the base grade. This is the elaborate grade. That means it's been adjusted to 3 positions at plus or minus 7 seconds a day, giving a maximum variance of plus or minus 20 seconds a day. 26 joule, hacking and hand winding, roughly 40-hour power reserve, 28,800 vibrations per hour, so you get that nice, smooth, high beat sweep from the second hand. But enough of all that nonsense, let's have a look at the purple, and it does look fantastic outside under the macro lens. Now earlier on I mentioned the bold dial. Now that wasn't a reference to the colour, I didn't mean bold as in B-O-L-D, I meant bold as in B-O-W-L-E-D. It is dished. You can see that from these shots where I show the watch at an angle. Very, very interesting effect. Sometimes you see dials bold the other way, out to meet the glass. This one bowls up to meet the glass, giving the watch face real depth. Very interesting effect. Now not only is there colour here, but there's plenty of sunburst as well, and you get a kind of circular, granular effect when you look at it right up close under macro. Applied indices, oblong batons at the 12, the 3 and the 9, and smaller oblong batons everywhere else. Porthole date window down there at the 6 o'clock, but no colour match date wheels this time around. I'll talk a bit more about that later on. The Direnzo brand logo, the name and Genève because it's Swiss, printed above the pinion, and automatic in very Seiko Sarb-esque script, printed beneath the pinion. We have 2 concentric circles of minute markers, one sitting just inboard of the hour markers, one sitting at the edges of the dial on that bowl, so to speak. And it's almost a bit like a sector dial, the way those lines run from the edges through the markers towards that center ring. Hands are another Sergio signature, flat. These ones carried over from the DRZ02, high polished silver throughout, segmented and loomed at the tips. It's a really elegant handset for I think what is a really elegant watch overall. Talking of loom, BGW9 on all 3 hands and on all of those oblong applied indices, and seemingly plenty of it. When I turn the speed up, you can still see all of the hands and all of the indices, even when I get to the end of the 20 minutes. This one definitely has capabilities as an all-rounder, with a decent level of water resistance and good after dark legibility. And it's a very comfortable watch to wear as well. No sharp edges at all anywhere on this one. Super smooth bracelet as I mentioned, and lovely brushing throughout, chamfered edges. all helping it remain very, very comfortable on wrist. Short lug to lug, 47.5, 40mm in diameter, and sits nice and flush on my 7-inch wrist. Choose the black fitted rubber strap if you want to tone down the look overall. Again, the Direnzo logo appears on the matching high polish hardware. Or choose white if you really want to go bold with your colours and get noticed, again with the matching hardware. Overhead legibility isn't too bad. That's not really this watch's raison d'etre, is it? It's about the colour, it's not necessarily about that at a glance legibility. Doesn't do too bad for itself though. And it's the same outside natural light. You do get quite a bit of flecto from that domed sapphire crystal, but overall it's not too bad. You can also see here the sunburst effect. You can see that bold dial, and you can see how the mixture of brushed and polished finishes interact on both the head of the watch and the bracelet. On wrist, again, you can see all of that. A lot of depth considering it's less than 12mm thick, this one. I guess not having any form of bezel helps with that. Very, very comfortable to wear this. Definitely one of the most comfortable integrated bracelet watches that I've tried. Hence the reason why I generally wear mine low and loose like this one around my wrist knuckle rather than halfway up towards my elbow like I do with bigger, heavier, chunkier watches. Moans and niggles. I don't really have that many, to be honest. Clearly I am a fan of the DRZ04, I'm a fan generally of what Sergio does with his range of watches, hence the reason why I have reviewed this one twice. Look, it's not the most rugged, masculine and tooly integrated bracelet watch out there, and Tiffany blue and purple dials don't help it in that regard. If you want something a bit more butch, then there are plenty of other options out there for you. But what happened to the colour match date wheel? This is some footage from my previous review of the green one and the grey meteorite one, both of them clearly displaying colour match date wheels. I thought that was a fantastic touch on the original run of these. Where have they gone? There's obviously an argument that retaining the white wheel is more legible. There's also an argument that retaining the white wheel balances out that large oblong applied index at 12, but I thought the colour matching was really nice. I wish they had retained it on all of these different colours for the Gen 2s. And then of course there is the elephant in the room, the Tissot PRX Powermatic 80 that has been launched subsequent to the Generation 1 DRZ04s launching last year. And you know what? It's almost exactly the same price at $650 US. Or a little bit cheaper if you go grey. I've been going grey for decades now myself, and it hasn't done me any harm. Thank you very much, I'm here all week. But much like the old El Paso girl said, why not both? I have both a PRX and a DRZ04 Mondial in my personal collection. They're both quite different despite their similarities, but they are both fantastic watches. The Tissot has the brand name, the brand recognition, and arguably if you buy the automatic has the better movement of the two. The Direnzo though is a stunning design from end to end and is without doubt the better quality watch. It's better finished than the PRX, the bracelet is more comfortable than the PRX, there's better lume than the PRX, it's got a screw down crown, etc, etc. So the Tissot should definitely be on your radar, but even if you have one in your collection already, you should seriously consider one of these Direnzos. And despite Mystic Muzz's predictions at the beginning, you don't have to buy one in purple. So there you have it, some new colours on what was already a cracking watch by Sergio. Drilled lugs are just an added bonus too. His older models are now becoming quite collectible. I wonder if some of these new colour variants might also end up being in high demand. If you want to see more of the 04 and more of Mystic Muzz, click here. If you want to have a look at the next Direnzo to be reissued, the DRZ03 Eclipse, click here. Thanks for watching. I predict I'll see you again in a future video.